My name is Daniel Harper. For years, I worked as a property photographer, traveling across the United States, documenting abandoned homes before they were demolished or sold. Most of the places I visited were ordinary old farmhouses, vacant schools, forgotten churches. Nothing unusual until October 2024. That's when I received an email about a property in rural Illinois. At first glance, it looked like a normal assignment. The message contained only a single address, 1147 Willow Creek Road, Ashburn, County, Illinois. The strange thing was that I couldn't find Ashburn County anywhere. Illinois doesn't have an Ashburn County. I assumed it was a typo. When I replied asking for clarification, I received another email only seconds later. The sender wrote, "The road exists after midnight. No signature. No contact number. Just that." Normally, I would have ignored something like that, but the payment attached to the contract was nearly 5 times my normal rate. Curiosity got the better of me. 3 days later, I drove towards southern Illinois. The GPS couldn't locate the address. Neither could Google Maps. Eventually, I reached a small gas station outside a quiet farming community. The old cashier looked at the address. His face immediately turned pale. "Where did you get this?" "A client hired me." He stared at me for several seconds. Then he quietly slid the paper back. "You should leave before dark." That was all he said. I laughed. He didn't. By 11:30 p.m., I was still searching. The roads became increasingly isolated. Cornfields stretched endlessly into darkness. No houses. No lights. No traffic. Just empty land. Then, at exactly 11:58 p.m., my GPS screen flickered. A new road suddenly appeared. Willow Creek Road. I slammed on the brakes. The road hadn't been there moments earlier, yet now it was displayed clearly. A narrow lane disappeared into the darkness between 2 cornfields. The GPS voice calmly announced, "Destination ahead." I should have turned around. Instead, I drove forward. The deeper I went, the stranger everything became. The trees seemed wrong, not dead, alive, their branches twisted into shapes resembling human arms. The temperature dropped sharply. My car's clock stopped. 12 o'clock a.m. It never moved again. After 10 minutes. I finally saw a house. An enormous Victorian structure, standing alone in the middle of nowhere. Its windows were dark. Its paint was peeling. And above the front door hung a rusted address plate. 1147. I parked and grabbed my camera. The moment my feet touched the ground, I felt something watching me. The sensation was overwhelming, like dozens of eyes, hidden in the darkness. The front door was already open. I never touched it. It simply creaked wider as I approached. The inside smelled like wet wood and mold. Dust covered everything. Yet strangely, there were no cobwebs. As if something still moved through the house regularly. I began taking photographs. Living room. Kitchen. Hallway. Staircase. Everything appeared abandoned. Then, I reached a small study near the back of the house. A desk sat against the wall. On top was a leather journal. The cover read, "Property Records 198 Savini." Opened it. The pages contained names. Hundreds of names. Each followed by a date. Every entry ended the same way. Moved into 1147 Willow Creek Road. Nothing unusual about that. Until I noticed something terrifying. None of the people had moving out dates, only move-in dates, hundreds of residents, across decades. Not one had ever left. A sudden sound echoed upstairs, a heavy footstep dot, then another dot thump, dot thump, dot thump. I froze. Someone was in the house, dot the footsteps. Continued, dot slow, dot deliberate, dot crossing the second floor, dot I called out. Hello? No answer. The footsteps stopped instantly, dot silence filled the house. Then my camera flashed by itself. I hadn't pressed anything. The screen displayed the photograph it had just taken. My blood turned cold. Standing behind me was a tall figure. At least 7 feet tall. Its body looked human. Its face did not. The image was blurry, but I could see enough. Its mouth stretched unnaturally wide. Its eyes were completely black. I spun around. Nothing was there. The room was empty. The photograph remained. I checked again. The figure was still visible. Standing directly behind where I had been. Loud crash exploded from upstairs. Then another, and another. Something was moving through the second floor at incredible speed. Doors slammed, furniture overturned, glass shattered. The entire house shook. I ran for the front door. It wouldn't open. I pulled harder. Nothing. The door had somehow sealed shut. The sounds upstairs stopped. Then I heard a voice. Soft. Whispering. Coming from directly behind me. You shouldn't have arrived before the others. I turned slowly. The hallway was empty. Yet the voice continued. Now from somewhere above. He's awake. Every light in the house suddenly switched on. Brilliant white. For the first time, I saw the walls clearly, and I nearly screamed. Names. Thousands of names. Carved into every surface. Floor. Walls. Ceiling. Every inch covered. Each name followed by the same address to 1147 Willow Creek Road. Then I found mine, freshly carved, still bleeding sap-like liquid from the wood. Daniel Harper underneath was today's date. At that moment, a loud knock came from the front door. 3 knocks. Slow. Heavy. Impossible. Because I was trapped inside. Someone or something was knocking from outside. Then another voice echoed through the house. A woman's voice. Terrified. Crying. Don't answer it. The knocking continued. Boom. Boom. The entire house trembled. The walls groaned. And somewhere deep beneath the floorboards, something enormous began to move. Something that sounded far too large to fit beneath the house. The woman's voice returned, this time screaming, "IT found you." And then the floor directly beneath my feet cracked open. Asterisk. The floor exploded beneath me. Rotting wood shattered in every direction as I fell into darkness. For a moment, I expected broken bones. Instead, I landed on something soft. Wet. Cold. And strangely warm at the same time. The smell hit me first. Rot. Mold. And something worse. Something that smelled like old graves after rain. My flashlight had fallen beside me. I grabbed it and switched it on. The beam revealed a narrow, underground tunnel. The walls weren't made of dirt. They were made of wood. Old wooden planks stretching endlessly into darkness. As if an entire structure existed beneath the house. Then I looked down. The surface I had landed on wasn't a pile of debris. It was clothing. Hundreds of pieces of clothing. Shoes. Jackets. Hats. children's backpacks, all covered in dust, all abandoned, as though hundreds of people had simply vanished and left everything behind. A sound echoed through the tunnel. A slow inhale, then an exhale. Something was breathing, not nearby. Everywhere. The tunnel itself seemed alive. I climbed to my feet and started walking. The opening above me had already vanished. There was no way back, only forward. The farther I went, the stranger the tunnel became. The walls were covered with names, thousands of names. The same names I had seen upstairs, each one carved into the wood. Some were decades old, others looked fresh. Then my flashlight stopped on a familiar name. My heart nearly stopped. Daniel Harper, my name, carved directly into the wall. Below it was a date. Tomorrow's date, not today, single quotes, S. Tomorrow, as if someone already knew what would happen. A loud creak echoed ahead. I turned the flashlight toward the darkness. At first I saw nothing, then something moved. A silhouette, tall, extremely tall. Its head nearly touched the ceiling. It stood motionless, watching me. The same figure from the photograph. The thing with black eyes. I backed away. The figure didn't move. Then the flashlight flickered. For half a second, the tunnel went dark. When the light returned, the figure was closer. Much closer. I ran. The tunnel stretched endlessly before me. Behind me came the sound of footsteps. Not running, walking, slowly, confidently, as though it knew I couldn't escape. The tunnel eventually opened into a massive underground chamber, and what I saw there made my blood freeze. There were houses, hundreds of houses, entire streets, buried beneath the earth. An underground town. Every building looked abandoned. Every address plate displayed the same. Number 1147. I couldn't understand it. How could hundreds of different houses share the same address? Then I noticed movement. People standing in the streets. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. None moved. None spoke. They simply stared. Every one of them looked pale. Their clothes belonged to different decades. Some wore clothing from the 1950s. Others looked modern. A teenage girl stepped forward. Unlike the others, she seemed alive. Her eyes widened when she saw me. Oh no. What? I asked. You came after midnight. What is this place? The girl glanced nervously into the darkness. Then she whispered, "This is where the road takes people." I stared at her. What road? Willow Creek Road. The name alone made her tremble. People don't find the road, she said. The road finds them. Before I could respond, a distant scream echoed through the underground town. Everyone froze. The girl immediately looked terrified. He's hunting. My stomach tightened. Who? She didn't answer immediately. When she finally spoke, her voice barely rose above a whisper. The landlord. The ground shook. Every silent person in the town lowered their heads. As if praying or hiding. The girl grabbed my arm. We need to move. We ran through the underground streets. The buildings became older, more decayed. Some appeared centuries old. Far older than Illinois itself. Far older than America. That should have been impossible. Eventually, we reached a large building resembling an old courthouse. Inside were shelves filled with books. Thousands of them. The girl handed me one. I opened it. It wasn't a novel. It was a record. Every page documented a missing person. Names. Dates. Photographs. The oldest entry dated back to 1812, long before the road supposedly existed. Then I noticed something horrifying. The newest entry had today's date. My photograph stared back at me. Below it were the words, "New tenantee slammed the book shut." What does that mean? The girl looked away. "It means you've been claimed." A loud crash echoed outside. The building shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. The girl's face went white. "He found us." Then something struck the courthouse. The walls cracked instantly. Another impact followed. And another. The entire structure groaned. Whatever was outside was enormous. The girl grabbed my hand. "Don't look at him." "What?" "No matter what happens, don't look directly at him." The front wall exploded inward. Wood and stone flew across the room. And for the first time, I saw the thing they called the Landlord. At first, my brain couldn't process its shape. It was too large. Too wrong. Its body seemed stitched together from shadows. Its limbs bent in impossible directions. Its face constantly changed, every second becoming someone else's face. Old. Young. Male. Female. Adult. Thousands of faces, one after another, all trapped inside the same monstrous form. And among those faces I saw my own. The creature smiled, then spoke with hundreds of voices at once. "Welcome home." The last thing I remember was the creature reaching toward me. And the girl screaming. Then everything went black. Asterisk. When I opened my eyes, I was sitting in a wooden chair. My hands were tied behind my back. At first, I thought I was still inside the underground courthouse. I was wrong. This place was much older. Much darker, and far worse. The room looked like the inside of a giant house. But the walls weren't made of wood. They were made of doors. Thousands of doors, stacked from floor to ceiling. Some were old farmhouse doors. Others belonged to apartments, hotel rooms. Hospitals. Schools. Every door had a number carved into it. And every number was the same. 1147. A dim, yellow light hung from above. Swinging slowly. Back and forth. Back and forth. As if someone had just walked through moments earlier. Then I heard footsteps. Heavy. Slow. Deliberate. The landlord had returned. The massive shadow emerged from the darkness, its shape constantly shifting. Faces moving beneath its skin, like trapped insects. Hundreds. Thousands. Every face frozen in terror. And then I saw someone. I recognized. The teenage girl. Her face appeared among them. She wasn't a survivor. She had been trapped all along. The creature stopped a few feet away. Its countless eyes focused on me. Then it spoke. "Do you know what a house is, Daniel?" Its voice sounded like a crowd speaking together. I said nothing. The creature continued. "A house is a place people trust." The walls creaked. The doors around me began opening and closing by themselves. A house is where people lower their guard. Another door slammed shut. And trust is the easiest thing to hunt. Then something horrifying happened. One of the doors opened. Inside was my childhood bedroom. Exactly as I remembered it. Every detail perfect. Every toy, every book, every scratch on the wall. The landlord smiled. "I collect homes." Another door opened. Inside stood a woman crying. Another opened. A man screaming. Another. A child hiding under a bed. Thousands of doors. Thousands of stolen lives. The landlord wasn't haunting a house. The house was haunting reality. Every person who disappeared on Willow Creek Road became part of it. Part of the collection. Part of the house itself. Then I finally understood. Willow Creek Road didn't exist in Illinois. Not really. It existed somewhere else. A place that touched reality only briefly after midnight, like a parasite reaching through a crack, searching for new victims. The landlord stepped closer. You were invited. What are you? I whispered. The creature paused. Then thousands of mouths smiled. I am the first tenant. Suddenly the room changed. Images flooded my mind. Visions. Memories. I saw a dirt road. Not in modern Illinois. Not even in America. A settlement. Ancient. Forgotten. A traveler seeking shelter from a storm. A lonely house standing in the wilderness. A knock on the door. An invitation. Inside. And then darkness. The first victim. Hundreds of years later, the house remained, growing larger. Feeding. Collecting. Expanding. Every victim became another room. Another hallway. Another door. Another piece of the structure. The landlord wasn't the owner. The landlord was the very first person trapped inside, changed by centuries of imprisonment, transformed into something monstrous. Something no longer human, something that served the house. The vision ended. I was back in the chair. The landlord stared at me. Now you understand. Then the ropes around my wrists vanished. I blinked. Confused. The creature pointed toward a staircase. Run. What? Run? For the first time, I noticed something strange. The landlord looked tired. Ancient. Almost sad. Then I realized the truth. It wasn't trying to stop me. It was helping me. A deafening roar echoed through the structure. The entire building shook violently. The walls cracked. Doors slammed shut. Thousands of screams filled the air. The landlord looked upward. Fear appeared across its countless faces. The house itself had noticed. The house knew one of its prisoners was escaping. The landlord grabbed me and shoved me toward the staircase. Go! I ran behind me. The entire structure came alive. Hallways twisted. Rooms shifted. Staircases moved. The house was rearranging itself to trap me. The screams grew louder. I raced upward. Floor after floor. Level after level. The staircase seemed endless. Then I saw moonlight. A door. The front door. The original front door. The one from 1147 Willow Creek Road. I sprinted toward it. The house roared. The sound shook the entire world. Something grabbed my ankle. I looked down. Hundreds of pale hands were reaching through the floorboards, trying to pull me back. I kicked free. The door was only feet away. 3 feet. 2 feet. 1. I threw myself through it, and everything disappeared. I woke up beside my car. The sun was rising. The cornfield stretched endlessly around me. There was no house. No road. No sign of Willow Creek Road. Nothing. My camera lay nearby. Its battery was dead. I drove away immediately. I never returned. For months, I convinced myself it had all been a nightmare. Stress. Exhaustion. Hallucinations. Then, 6 months later, I received a package. No return address. Inside was a single photograph. A photograph I had never taken. It showed a house standing alone beneath a black sky, the address plate clearly visible. 1147, and standing in the upstairs window was me. Watching from inside. On the back of the photograph was a handwritten message. Only 4 words. A room remembers. I immediately contacted every authority I could think of. Nobody found any record of Willow Creek Road. No property records. No maps. No county. Nothing. It officially didn't exist. Years passed. I tried to move on. Eventually I stopped talking about it. Stopped thinking about it. Stopped checking strange roads on maps. Then last week, something happened. Something that forced me to write this account. At 11:58 p.m., my phone received a notification, a navigation alert. I wasn't using any GPS app. The screen displayed a route. No destination name. Only an address. 1147 Willow Creek Road, Illinois. Estimated arrival 12 o'clock a.m. Deleted it immediately. 30 seconds later, another notification appeared. Then another. Then another. The route kept returning. No matter what I did. Finally, the screen changed. A message appeared. Just one sentence, the final sentence. The sentence I am sharing with you now. Asterisk, asterisk, there is always room for one more tenant.